This is Dream Power Radio, the place where your dreams turn into reality. Here is your host, Debbie Spector-Weissman.
Hello, 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 and welcome to Dream Power Radio on the amazing Women and Men of Power Network, the world's leading positive programming network powered by Raven International. I'm your host, Debbie Spector-Weissman, the Dream Coach. This is the show where we talk about dreams, both daytime and nighttime dreams, and how you can use them to make the internal shift to a life you love. Well, I have to tell you, last year I had a great time interviewing my guest, Jolie DeMarco. She's known as the Crystal Junkie and is the go-to expert for everything you want to know about how crystals can help us with healing and our mood and gaining abundance and all kinds of things. But Jolie is a very talented and multidimensional woman. We're going to talk to her today about something very different: how to talk to our soul. How do we do this, and why is this important? Let's find out. Welcome back to Dream Power Radio, Jolie.
Hi, thanks for having me, Debbie. I appreciate it.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I'm really excited to talk about this whole idea of talking to our soul. You claim it could actually heal ourselves by doing this. And I've always thought of my soul as this kind of ethereal thing that's just out there. So before we get started on how to actually talk to it, why don't you tell me, how do you define the soul?
So in my book, I write a little bit. I use a descriptive word like a shiny diamond, just to kind of give us a visual of what your soul can, so we can kind of make it tangible, I guess I should say. So our soul is the energy of us, the energy of our existence. And so I always say there's the human part of us, and then there's the energy part of us, and then there's also our soul. And our soul is energetic as well. And because we can talk to ourselves and talk to our soul on different levels, that's how we can connect and have a great communication with understanding all of us and all of our existence together to be as one.
Do you have a hard time getting people to really understand that energy is all around us and that we actually are energy?
Yeah, it's hard because I know in schools they teach people about our physical body, but they don't always teach about our energetic body. And people really need to start educating people on that, because that energetic body, our aura, which is arm's length, I'll put my arms out now, around our body in a 3D round circle, or auric egg, most people call it. It's probably what you would call it, right? That 3.5 to 4 feet around our body has positive and negative energy and neutral energy. And that's what keeps our energy up and our moods, and can change us because of different frequencies that come through. And our energy basically is sort of what I call permeable. So we're accepting energy and we're releasing energy all the time. And energy can be considered an emotion. It can be a physical feeling. It could be mental, the way we process things. So all that together is really a strong part of who we are, and we don't always see it. Just like the cell phone lines, we don't see that like we used to years ago. And when you think about frequencies, it's not visual, so we forget about it a lot. And it is hard for people to kind of get that concept. But once they do, it's like life gets so much easier to figure out and understand about our bodies.
Yeah. So when you say you're talking to our soul, are we talking to the aura, or?
No, we're talking to, thank you. So we are talking to the part of us that we're connected to on an energetic level. So it's not necessarily our aura that we're talking to, but it's the essence of who we are and our being. If you believe in your source, it's the part that's the closest to your source in your life. So I always say the human part of us and the energetic part of us, but the soul is a separate part that can be all continued together, all connected as one.
Okay, so that sounds kind of interesting, but why should we talk to our soul? I mean, how can that make a difference for us?
Let me say it another way. Maybe this will help out a little bit. So we know that we have our consciousness, and we know that we have our subconscious, right? So our subconscious is connected to our soul. Basically, some people believe that your subconscious is your soul. So that's a belief system there. So if you can understand that our subconscious and our conscious need to be connected to have an understanding in life, I always give this example. A lot of people that are very disconnected and don't feel grounded, or they don't feel like they're, maybe so purposeful on life here on earth, if they connect their consciousness and their subconsciousness, and that connects together, then you have a total understanding of what you're doing and the actions that you're taking on a day-to-day basis. So that can make life easy. And when we do that, we can do that by talking to our soul. And this is kind of the concept that I wrote about in the book. Do you think that explains it a little bit better to help people understand it?
Yeah, so we can actually make changes in our lives by talking to our soul.
Yes. And it's, if people realize that everything we say is a frequency and everything we think is a frequency, so it's still a frequency going out, can be heard and connected and, and understood.
Okay, so let's get down to the real nitty gritty. How do we talk to our soul?
I actually came up with this from channeling Archangel Michael. So I'm a clairvoyant channel, and I speak to Archangel Michael quite a bit. And he started teaching me that when we do speak to our soul, it is just a frequency. So we can actually have a literally conversation. You can either write it out, or you can verbally say it, or you can telepathically in your mind, have a conversation with your soul's energy. So you would call in your whole name. You would say your whole first name, all the names that you know that are you, that exist. And once you state your first name, then you would connect in a sort of like a meditative state and state everything that you want to become equal energy. So equal energy means everything being more balanced in your life. So I'm going to give the example of, let's just say I had old issues from the past where I allow people to take advantage of me. And you're too nice. So there's a lot of people out there that are overly nice. And it's nice to be nice, but sometimes people take advantage of it, and it takes it to another level to feel unequal. And so what I would do is do a soul talk with myself. And I would say, like, this is an understanding that we need to have, me and my soul, that, I love you being a great, nice person. I'm not blaming you for anything, but let's get this straight. We want to be balanced with other people. We want things to be equal, so people don't have to feel uncomfortable around you, and I don't have to feel uncomfortable around them. So me and my talk together, and we're going to have this understanding. So this way we can have more balance in our life. And so whatever the issues might be, you would go through the issues. You would do a connection, using a connection of different parts of our bodies, of our chakras, and then go through a little breathing period of 11 breaths in and out, and it would take us to connect to our soul and feel this beautiful, equal energy wiping over your whole body and your energetic body, your physical body and your energetic body.
So is this something that works right away? Like if you had this issue, you did the soul talk, would you immediately feel a change?
For most people, I'll say yes. I've done it several times, and you can go back in and do things if you feel like you have to work on them, because the really important part is that you have to believe that you're connecting the soul and you're feeling that energy. I always use the example, if you're praying for somebody, you actually feel it in your heart when you're praying for that person because you care so much. That's a frequency. And some people, when we say things, we say just mantras and stuff, and it's not, you don't feel them. So the difference is feeling the energy versus not, putting the effort in to feel and understand and make that connection. So yeah, a lot of people will feel it instantly. I mean, instantly. I do now because I've been practicing it so much with different things in my life and different issues that come up. But most people will describe the word as being this swoosh of energy over their body, and that's kind of how they know that they did it correctly, because there's no wrong way, but it just feels right, and you'll feel that kind of swoosh over your body.
So what are some of the issues that you can resolve in yourself by going through this process?
For some people, it's addictive personalities. So people have addictions to all different things: food, eating, drugs, alcohol, even just bad habits. So those kind of issues people can address with themselves, because sometimes it comes from a deeper level of not even knowing where we get these habits and things from. And some people do know where they come from, but when you don't, it goes really deep. When you connect with your soul, it's almost you have this enlightenment, this kind of epiphany feeling when you start going through all the steps, and each step makes you kind of have that little cloud get cleared away. So then you can start to see, okay, I'm understanding now why I do this. And you really honestly have to want to get rid of whatever you're trying to change. So basically you're changing frequencies that are sort of embedded into what I call our shiny diamond or our soul. And if you think about it, throughout time in our lives, since we're little, we're embedded with different frequencies of things that we learn, what can be your normal in your life. And so, we get a lot of, I call them blemishes on our diamond. And so nobody's perfect, but we learn bad habits and good habits and all sorts of things. And you can always decide. You're the keeper of your soul. Archangel Michael always tells me we're the keeper of our soul. So if we want change, we have to decide that we want to make the change. Nobody can do it for us. And once we do, we're allowed to kind of connect with our soul's energy and clear off any blemishes that are there that we don't like anymore and change ourselves. So using that analogy, it kind of helps people to understand that, we all make mistakes. We all have things in our life that drive us to do certain things and actions, but we can change them through connection of the soul.
Okay, talk to me more about the importance of intention in this whole process, because you did say you have to want to do it.
Oh, yeah. So intention, a lot of people will always use the word intention, but they don't always know exactly what it means. Or my definition of intention is what you desire and what you project. So whenever you desire something, you're going to set the intention that's a frequency and energy of that desire. And then what you're projecting is the action that you're taking to follow it through. So that part of it, a lot of people just say, well, I'm setting the intention to do this, this, and this. And that's good. But again, are you feeling what you're doing? Are you feeling the change of what you're doing and that frequency change? So an example I could give you is when I want change, I'm trying to think of a good one that people could understand and associate with. Okay, here's just a simple little one. So let's say there's verbiage that I want to change. So maybe I curse a lot, okay? And I want to decide not to do that. So when we curse, we usually have more negative energy than positive energy. So it's a frequency that's usually a little bit lower, even though I could be screaming it, right? And so if I'm saying negative words all the time, I'm keeping myself on that lower frequency. But let's say I have a soul talk with myself, and I say, listen, Jolie, the soul of Jolie, I want to make sure that we don't do that anymore because it's keeping us on a lower frequency. Do you understand that that's what it's doing? And so my intention is that I want to desire and project in a different way. So this way I'm not continuing to do the same old thing over and over again. And we all have things that we do over and over again, but some could be positive and some could be negative. So this is where we can kind of tap into our soul, do the little switcheroo, wipe it down, clean it up, and let it flow again, let it be natural and easy. So it is an easy, super easy technique. I have a guided meditation that people can download on the website, and they can have me guide them through the 11 steps. So you could read it in the book, but the 11 steps with the guidance kind of helps. And a lot of people do it maybe 1 or 2 times, then they understand it more, and then they go through it in flowing motion, and they could just do it anytime they choose. So
let's talk about, you do have a book about this, so tell us a little bit about the book.
Yeah, Soul Talking and Relationships, and you could download it online, or we could ship it to you too. And it's on the website crystaljunkie.com, and you could also find it on Amazon. So it's on Amazon for everyone to download.
Okay, and I know if I'm honest about it, and I'm sure if a lot of other people are honest about it, they've got more than one issue that they'd like to resolve. So when you're doing a soul talk, do you just do like one soul talk for one issue, or can you do it and just have a whole bunch of things all at once?
That's a good question. People ask that all the time. Yes, so a lot of us have many issues. And so it is best to do them one at a time, because you're focusing, remember, your intention to desire and project on each one separately. So you can work on all of them, but it actually is a little bit emotionally draining, because you're connecting to a different part of your energy that maybe you're not always used to connecting to, your soul. So when you do this, like I feel a little exhausted. I'm going to be honest. I feel a little exhausted after I do a soul talking. So I tell people not necessarily to go think they're going to do a million things after, because you get a little emotional releasing and changing some of those frequencies. So I would do one at a time. And because you are going to write it out and kind of set yourself in that way. And then the next time, like you could do it an hour later if you wanted to, if you felt up to it. If not, I would say wait a couple days in between, because you are, purging a little bit there, and you're releasing this to make things equal. So you do, want to be easy on yourself. You don't want to be too tough on yourself. You're already getting rid of some things that you're, held on to probably for quite some time.
That certainly makes a lot of sense. How long does the process take?
Usually about 33 minutes is what when I downloaded it. So this way you can kind of take your time, write things out. You can relax and do the breath work. So this way everything is really set and relaxed. So you want to make sure you have a really nice space where you feel that you're not having too much noise around, and you can feel very personal about what you're doing. Some people like to do it outside in nature, or in their sacred space.
Mm-hmm. Well, I always love to hear examples. I know because you've worked with a lot of people on this process. Can you give me an example, without obviously mentioning names or anything, of somebody who was helped by having that talk?
Yeah, absolutely. So this one example, I had a woman that was my client for a long time, wonderful lady, and her ex-husband never paid her child support. And at this time, her daughter is about 10 years old or so. And, she was having a rough time. It's hard, it's hard being a single parent. So she asked if she should do the soul talk to him. So now there's two different ways to do a soul talk. There's a soul talk with yourself for your own issues, and there's soul talk with others, meaning that you have unequal energy with somebody else. So obviously she had unequal energy with her ex-husband because he, kind of just didn't pay for anything and help out with the child support. So she had resentment issues towards him. And she also, was angry at herself for, also not making, things work in that relationship, which, wasn't her fault totally. So anyway, that was her position on that. So she went in, she did a soul talk. I explained how to do it. She did the guided message. And so with that, she called in his name, talked to his soul. Okay, so her soul is talking to his soul, and she's also verbally and writing it out at the same time. And it's not about blame. That's not the way it works. It's not about blaming people. It's just about saying, hey, things didn't work out the way that we wanted them to in our relationship and also with our child. And it's really upsetting that you're not putting any equal exchange as far as money or abundance here, and also attention for our daughter. And so she went into going, you could make it as long as you like or as short as you like. She went into the different issues, and then she closed it out with equal energy. She whoosh over her body, and then just let it be. So it was, don't quote me on this, I think I wrote in the book about 7 days after, 6 or 7 days after. She hasn't heard from this man in like 3 years, okay, at all, not phone call, anything. And so 7 days after, she gets a knock on her door, and it's him. She said she almost fainted. And he didn't say too many words to her, but he handed her a check, and it definitely wasn't for the full amount of what she was supposed to get, but it was a good amount. And she just said thank you, and that was the end of that. And but she still couldn't believe it. So on a soul level, when we talk to people on a soul level frequency, that's talking to the deepest part. That's the inner part of us, and the part that really cares, because the soul of you is the clearest, cleanest part that's closest to your source. So that can be your God, your Buddha, whoever it is to you, but that part of you, that's the purest. And the purest part of us always wants things to be equal. So whether he was super conscious of what he was doing, or just his soul was walking him over there, it happened, and it's good, and it helped her have closure with things that she needed to, and also helped her monetarily wise. So that, to me, that was a beautiful story.
Oh, it is a beautiful story. And with that, we're actually going to take a short little break here. We're talking about soul talking with Jolie DeMarco, and we'll be right back. Join me, my fellow Raven International podcasters, and broadcasters from around the world in a joyous salute to the heroes of the pandemic. On July 17th, the Raven International Network is devoting the entire day to a star-studded list of speakers who will inspire, empower, and connect with you. Watch on the Raven International Network channel on Roku or Amazon Fire, or listen on podcasts everywhere. See you on the 17th.
Welcome back to Dream Power Radio with your host, Debbie Spector-Weissman.
Yes, welcome back to Dream Power Radio. I'm your host, Debbie Spector-Weissman, and we're talking about soul talking with my guest, Jolie DeMarco. Now, Jolie, it's very interesting that you're talking about not just talking to our own soul, but talking to other people's souls. You could just go into that a little bit more. You gave that beautiful example of that woman, but what are some other reasons why we want to talk to somebody else's soul?
So a lot of us in relationships, since the book's called Soul Talking in Relationships, we don't always have equal energy when people break up in a relationship, whether it's, marriage or just boyfriend, girlfriend, any kind of relationship. So when we do that, even our parents or things like that, it could be family as well. So whenever we don't have closure in a relationship, a lot of people have that unknown, and that's where people hold resentments. So they have what we call unequal energy. Unequal energy is whenever you think about a person and maybe you don't always think the nicest about them because of whatever they've done to you or you've done to them. So it could be you also treating somebody else sadly too. It's not always, about the other person treating you that way. But so you always want to just make sure that if you're feeling that energy, that something isn't right between you and them, or you think about that person a lot because they never told you why they broke up with you, those things can be very harsh on people because you're never healed totally. And that's why a lot of people in relationships have a hard time meeting somebody new, because they still have strings or attachments, which are just frequencies of thoughts, emotions, these feelings that you have about those people that aren't positive, and unknowing a lot is, people hate to not know everything, right? And we're not supposed to know everything, but in a relationship, once things end, it's kind of nice to know that, okay, this is why they did that, or this is why they left me, or I left them. And so that part can be really weighing on a person in their lifetime and affect all the rest of their relationships. So soul talking with other people can help you relieve that energy and make it more balanced, so you don't have to feel unequal about those emotions, feelings, and mental processes that we go through, beating ourselves up over why, or what happened. But that's a good way to use it.
Yeah, and I tell you, I found it very interesting because you mentioned that having these things, we may have these residual feelings and resentments without even knowing it. And that could be why after you have a bad breakup or something, you try to get into a new relationship and that person's not connecting with you because you say they're seeing that resentment that you still have toward the old person, which is something I would have never thought of. And I'm even thinking of examples of, people I know who had bad breakups and aren't getting that new love in their life. And it seemed like that could be the reason why, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, absolutely. Let me give you a little visual, if everybody can have this little visual. So if you think about our aura around our body, we're talking about that circle around our body. If you've ever walked past somebody, I always use the example of a supermarket, and you didn't even have to know the person that walked past you. Let's say you walked past a woman, and all of a sudden you were like, wow, that lady had some weird energy or bad energy. So what happens is people's frequency, we all have our own frequency, and when we have different emotions going on, our thoughts in our head, our frequencies go out, just like cell phones. We can't see them, but they're existing. And so if your aura, this is my aura around this hand, that would be my body, and this would be somebody else's body with the aura around it. If we passed each other in the supermarket, and this one had some bad energy, I could easily pick up those frequencies because we're in each other's aura. So I'm having transference with somebody, and I'm picking up those frequencies that might not be so happy. So I'm feeling, oh, that lady, I didn't even look at her. I didn't have to have a conversation with her, but I know she's in a bad mood. And so I don't have to know why. It's just knowing I have that energy stuck in me. So we constantly have to clear off our energy, and that's why people like going to the beach. They like taking showers, water, all those things help us cleanse, and also our thoughts help us cleanse ourselves. We think of something beautiful instead of something sad, and it clears off your energy. So what I'm moving into is saying that having attachments from relationships can stay with us a long time. So that's just an example of how we can pick up energy from other people. But imagine your own energy that you keep in your energy field. You have these little maybe black clouds that are holding in your auric field around you from, oh, that relationship, that guy always treated me bad, so all men are going to treat me that way. And so you're holding on to this cloud. Or I never got an answer about why the relationship ended. So that's another little cloud that's in my energy field. So now when I think about that person, I have this kind of attachment. It's an energetic attachment. It's a frequency that's connected to that person and their energy field. And even though they might not feel it, I'm feeling it and it's affecting me. So what I want to do is clear my energy of all those negative clouds, because I could have positive ones too, obviously, but the negative ones that are holding me back in my life, and I won't be able to meet another man because my energy says I'm taken. Like if you imagine somebody that has strings attached to a circle around their body, you're going to think that they're kind of tied up, right? They're kind of got a lot going on there, and you probably don't want to get involved with that person. And so even though we can't, physically see that, energetically we could feel things from people, and that's why your energy says you're unavailable to date somebody or unavailable for the right person for you, because the wrong Mr. Wrong or Mrs. Wrong will come straight up to you because they like chaos or they like those strings, because either they can take advantage of you or they can treat you a certain way that you really don't want to be treated because you have that energy around you. It's kind of really, interesting.
Yeah, I wish the whole world could know about this technique and how to do it, because, you have the old expression, time heals all wounds. But really, it seems like time doesn't really heal all wounds because they stay in us whether we realize they're there or not. And to have this kind of technique that could erase all of that negativity is wonderful. I mean, if we did that, what incredible, wonderful world it would be if we could.
It would be. We got to clear I always say we just clear out our junk. You got junk, get relief. Do a soul talk. But yeah, I mean, it's people get a little scared when they hear the word, they have attachments, because sometimes people think attachments are like voodoo and stuff like that. It's really just science. If they broke it down, it's just frequencies. Everything we think and say is a frequency. So if your mind mentally, you keep thinking about why this person did this, why I did that, you're holding on to this frequency that becomes a rope, and then it becomes really thick. And all you have to do is say, I release it. I'm okay with letting go of that. Things could be equal, and I could give my own ending to it. I could have my own story to it. So it's, it is a really good tool to use, and you can use it often. It doesn't have to be like something so significant and hardship through your life that you have to wait to use the soul talking. You could do it for little things. Like I said earlier, I was saying, like, people that curse too much, you could use it. It doesn't have to be so catastrophic.
So tell me, how did you actually discover the benefits of talking to your soul?
When I channeled Archangel Michael, I used to do, and I still do, tons of clairvoyant readings on people, and Archangel Michael would channel through me. And of course, people mostly come in for relationships or business issues. And the advice that he was channeling through me, I was like, wow, this is like amazing. So, it didn't come from me, it came from him. And he was like, humans make everything so complicated. He says, we always let our emotions get in the way of everything. And not that we need to be emotionless, but we just need to be more mindful of, we let our emotions take control of us so easily, but it's that easy to let them go too. But people don't, we're not used to letting things go all the time. It's like probably the famous word from any psychic, any coach in the world is just let go. But then people don't know how, right? So the understanding of letting go is understanding that these are just frequencies that you embedded in yourself. You created this. You created this energy, and if you're the creator of it, you could release it, right? So again, like Archangel Michael says, we're the keeper of our soul. We're allowed to release whatever we want to release, if you truly want to release it. And so, after he started giving me the process, he said, let's make it easy for everybody. Let's make it 11 steps. And this is how we're going to do it. And he had me write it all out, and I got his okay on it. And Archangel Michael says this will make things easy for people if they take the time to, read about and understand it.
Yeah, well, I hope people do take advantage of it because it is a powerful, powerful tool. So tell me, because we're just almost about out of time, how can people find out about you and Soul Talking and about your crystal work also?
So they could go to crystaljunkie.com, and on that website you could get information on me and Soul Talking book, all the links to all the different books that I've written. This one actually is my bestseller, and I love it. And even if you have a friend, it's a great one to gift to somebody that's going through something emotionally. Even for young kids, it's good. I would say from ages 12 and up. And also JolieDeMarco.com. I'm on Facebook and YouTube. So thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Oh, well, thank you for joining us today. It's been wonderful. We have been speaking with soul talker, author, and crystal junkie, Jolie DeMarco. I hope you've enjoyed today's program. Until next time, this is Debbie Spector-Weissman saying, sweet dreams, everybody.
You've been listening to Dream Power Radio with your host, Debbie Spector-Weissman. For more information on Debbie or to sign up for her newsletter, go to dreampowerradio.com. This has been Dream Power Radio on the amazing Women and Men of Power Network, the world's leading positive programming network, powered by Raven International.